Previously on the last Pokemon Crystal Challenge run, do you not know who Metagross is? And coming up, Ember really is about as useful as a thong on an avocado. And a very warm welcome along to the SALAMENCE challenge. This is one of our time challenges here on the channel. It's the classic format that we all know and love, so we're going to be against the clock. We can reset as many times as we like, and of course we're going to be learning our level up moves throughout the course of this challenge alongside our TMs. Now, SALAMENCE is a very, very strong Pokemon. It's the other pseudo-legendary from Generation 3. We did run Metagross in the last challenge, and I'm not seeing too many issues, at least from first glance in the course of this challenge. We do have a quad weakness to Pryce, but fortunately for us in this challenge, Pryce is laughable. Now we've got 26 HP at level 5, holding a berry with just Rage and Bite at the moment, and in our stats we've got 20 in attack, 14 in defense, 17 in special attack, 14 in special defense, and 16 in speed. And with that, we can get the challenge underway. Now, SALAMENCE is a challenge I have been incredibly excited to run for a very long time. It's been sitting for over a year waiting to be played, and it's been consistently updated with all of the quality of life additions we've made to the Challenge Run patch. And I do want to remind you all that the Challenge Run patch is available at trainersquidgy.com. Now, we are saving the best till last because this is going to be our final regularly scheduled backport video. We may still do the odd one from time to time, but in terms of Pokemon that I've pre-planned, this is the last one, because next year in 2026 I want to focus on the original 251 Pokemon that are in Pokemon Crystal again. I want to try and get a lot of progress on our original leaderboard. I want to do a lot more Supermon challenges, and I also want to do a lot more 4 moves challenges. I really am happy with those 3 formats, and of course we have some Generation 3 thrown in the mix as well. So I think we're going to have a very, very fun year. Now, just a reminder, we have made a slight tweak to the rule set here in the Classic Challenges. We are able to use rare candies wherever we like, and we also have the HM items in place of the HM friends. That's just because we are running 3 series on the channel, and I don't want to have one series where I've got to try and remember different movement, especially when it's against the clock, because that could seriously harm our Pokemon's time at the end of the challenge. Because if I'm fumbling about in the bag trying to do something that's not reflexive anymore, then that's not going to be a fair and accurate representation of the Pokemon's abilities. Rival one there was about as meaningful as you would expect. A couple of bites gets rid of it, and I think this challenge is going to be one where the further we go through, the better. I have actually just noticed, though, that we should have Headbutt on the learn set as well, so I will fix that in between clips, and then we'll carry on with the challenge. The beauty of running Game Hook for the overlay is I can edit things like that very, very easily, and I do think that Headbutt is going to be our main attacking move for the start of this challenge. It's a very, very strong physical move. It's 70 base power, of course, it has the chance to flinch, and I think it's just going to be the trick that we need to be able to get through some of the early trainers fairly quickly. We should be one-shotting most things from now on. If you are a challenge run purist, you can probably take off about 15 seconds from the final finishing time. That'll be about the amount of time that we lost, but I've got to be honest with you all, 15 seconds is nothing in the course of a challenge run. Even when our times are an hour to an hour and a half, 15 seconds is bad movement, 15 seconds is fumbling in the bag. You lose a lot of time just through player error that's unavoidable throughout the course of these challenges, so I'm not that worried about losing a teeny tiny bit of time. Now, I'm taking on Wade to try and get up to level 8 because I'm not quite sure how we're going to fare in Falkner's gym. Mostly against that pesky Spearow at the beginning, I've got to be honest. I think the rest should be fairly easy. It's just a case of getting in there and doing a few headbutts and seeing how we go. Now, we are probably going to have to use Bite against the Pidgey, and we do outspeed, actually, the Spearow there. That's a very good sign. We'll use Bite against these 2 Pidgey here to conserve as much headbutt PP as possible, because even though it's going to be a 2-shot with Bite, it's still a teeny tiny bit quicker than going into the Pokemon Center to heal. We learn Leah. I don't think we'll be using Leah throughout the course of this challenge. We'll use a very quick berry, and then we'll take Falkner on. He's our first gym leader together today. He's a flying type specialist, leads with Pidgey. And our plan is to just headbutt. 2-shot on the Pidgey, probably going to be a 3-shot on the Pidgeot, so get a nice flinch there. Finish it off with a bite, grow to level 10, and we get our first badge in 4 minutes and 30 seconds. That is a very, very nice start for our Salamence. We will leave here now. Professor Elm's going to be yabbering about an egg. We don't particularly care. Instead, we'll have a little chat with Nurse Joy, replenish our PP, and we will get the egg. With that, we'll leave, and we'll make our way towards Azalea. I was just thinking in between clips how nice it is to be running a Pokemon with very, very good speed. It's just so happened that the last few challenges that we've done together have all been fairly slow Pokemon, so it's nice to not have to worry about the speed stat when we get to a trainer like Red. It means that we can focus entirely on our offensive capabilities instead of having to try and focus on our speed to try and get to a point where we're outspeeding Red's Pikachu and Red's Charizard, the two most dangerous Pokemon, I would say, in Red's party. Maybe Snorlax as well, but speed is never an issue with Snorlax. Snorlax's issue is that it's just got too much bulk. It's stealing bulk off the other Pokemon, and it's just fairly mean in that sense, isn't it? Now, I am getting used to the new Azalea Town routing as well, because of course we don't need to catch the HM friends. So we've had a chat with Kurt, we've bought the items we want, we've done a quick heal, and that means that Slowpoke Well is the next destination. And I do think that Salamence is just going to excel in this early part of the challenge. It'd be nice to have Ember for the Bug-type gym, but we will have Ember in time for Jasmine, and that's all that matters. For a pseudo-legendary as well, our learn set is actually fairly good. In Generation 2 and Generation 3 to a certain extent, pseudo-legendaries don't really have a brilliant level-up learn set, so it's nice with Salamence to see a little bit of coverage on the learn set to get some decent stab moves slightly later on, and just have a very good time overall. And now I don't know if it's anybody else, but I always get Salamence and Flygon's typings mixed up. Even now, while I've got the typing on screen, I have to remind myself we are Dragon Flying and not Dragon Ground. Doesn't make too much of a difference throughout the course of this challenge, but it does mean we're going to be weak to Whitney's rollout, so I do need to factor that in. I was going in actually expecting to resist Whitney's rollout, so when we get to Goldenrod I will probably swap and change a couple of things compared to what I was originally going to do with the routing here, but it shouldn't make any difference to the time. If anything, it will save a little bit of time because I'm doing the correct thing instead of just assuming and ended up doing the incorrect thing. Taking a bit of a risk there, taking on that Paris, because it can status us, but I don't think we'll have any issues at all going into Bugsy now. Bug-type Specialist, of course, leads with Metapod. It's 2-shot on the Metapod as we grow up to 16. Here comes Kakuna, we flinch the Kakuna and we get another 2-shot. And the last Pokemon is Scyther. Now we outspeed the Scyther, which is nice to see, and we'll finish it off with a Bite there. And that gets us our second badge, the Hive badge, in 9 minutes and 38 seconds. Let us now do a very, very quick PP heal, and then we'll go in to Rival 2. And apologies if I'm sounding a little bit croaky today. Woken up with the hints of a cold, so I'm trying my best to power through. I've had a little bit of Lemsip, and I'm hoping that will be just the trick to keep everything in order. I don't actually feel ill. I sound a lot worse than I feel. It's just one of those. It's one of those things where occasionally you just sound a little bit rotten, especially in winter, don't you? Nice and easy Rival 2 there, just over 10 minutes, and that means we can make our way through the forest. So here in the forest we're going to get the scythe from the charcoal maker, and we're also going to go around and grab the headbutt TM. Even though we have headbutt on the learn set at the moment, it's always a good idea, if you can learn headbutt and you're planning on using it, to grab the TM to make it infinitely obtainable in the Goldenrod Mart. We do also get the Tree Shaker. We're not going to be using that. We don't need to headbutt any trees. And with that, we'll grab our pair of ethers here in the forest, and we can leave and make our way into Goldenrod City. Now in Goldenrod there's not too much that we want to do on our first sweep through. The most important thing is getting the Rental Abra, and from there we can then think about taking on a few extra trainers just to make sure that we are going to be in no danger whatsoever for Whitney. Now, in order to get the rental abra, we are going to want to grab the coin case. That is going to unlock the counter at the Goldenrod game corner, and that is exactly what we need in order to get the abra. So we'll leave here now. We'll have to do the long loop around, make sure we go into the correct building, and then on the very right hand desk we will get ourselves the rental abra. We've also picked up the bike, and now we're going to take on a few extra trainers to the north of Goldenrod before we take on Whitney herself. I think it's going to be very important to try and get at least to level 20, if not a teeny tiny bit higher than level 20 to take her on, because while we are a fairly bulky Pokemon, I am worried that if Rollout gets a chance to build and build and build, we will be in danger of being knocked out. Now, these Magmar are a very, very good pair of Pokemon to gain a little bit of early game experience from. We're not going to need the Quick Claw in this particular instance, so we can now go around. We'll take on a couple more trainers and we'll make our way back to Goldenrod. So, one quick chat with Floria later, and we are back in Goldenrod. We have, of course, done a very quick heal there for PP purposes, and now we are in our third gym together. Whitney has one mandatory trainer. It is, of course, less carry. We generally don't have any issues at all here at carry. We should be able to just two-shot the Snubble. Even with a scary face, we outspeed the Snubble because it's got very, very low speed. Now, I'm going to take a risk here at Whitney, and I'm going to try Rage. I'm hoping for the Clefairy to double slap us, but that just doesn't seem to be happening. So we're going to have to swap to Headbutt as our strategy instead. You can see Rollout is already doing a lot of damage, but we get the flinch on the important turn, and that means we have defeated Whitney. Let's get the playing badge in a time of 15 minutes and 21 seconds. That could have been a lot scarier than it otherwise was. I'm very happy with that one overall. Let us now chat with Floria and her sister once more. We will do a very, very quick PP heal once again in Goldenrod City. And then it will be time for Fast Ecruteak again. This time, once more, we're going to be bypassing Ecruteak straight away. And we're going to be going straight into Olivine City. I really do like this routing. It's one of my favourite bits of routing we've ever come up with for Generation 2. It is incredibly handy, and it does save an awful lot of time as well. Of course, we can't forget the Big Hammer. That will get us an early HP up if we so desire. And now it is time for the cycle to Olivine. Now, something that doesn't get mentioned too often about this routing is it does actually also give us a little bit of an opportunity to avoid the legendary beasts in the grass heading towards Olivine. There have been a few times on the challenges where we have encountered the legendary beast as a wild encounter, and even if we're wearing a repel, we still get that encounter because, of course, we're not high enough leveled, and that does lose a little bit of time. Now, that isn't a guaranteed time save. It all depends on the RNG of the beasts, but that's another reason to go to the lighthouse first. Not only to get the experience, but also to try and minimise the chances of those extra battles. Now, in this one, you probably saw I forgot to stick on a repel for that bit between Ecruteak and Olivine, and I did get punished by getting an encounter with a rat. But if you play correctly and you don't play like me, that is a benefit of doing early Lighthouse. And now here we are at the very top of the Lighthouse. Jasmine's going to sell us that absolute nonsense story about Amphi being ill. We learnt Ember as well just before we hit the top of the Lighthouse, and that's going to be useful for battling Jasmine actually a little bit later on. But for now, there's nothing more we can do in Olivine, so we'll take the very, very short cycle back to Ecruteak City, and we'll make our way into the Burnt Tower. Here in the Burnt Tower, we are going to engage the rival in his third and middle battle together, and once again, I'm not expecting too many issues. I am, just for a little bit of safety though, going to teach Mudslap in place of Rage. Rage has served its purpose now, and Mudslap is quad super effective against the Magnemite. I'm hoping that Ember will be strong enough, but it isn't exactly a high base power move. There we go, it is strong enough in the end. We'll get rid of the Zubats with a headbutt, and that just leaves the Croconaw left to go. A couple of headbutts finishes it off, and we defeat rival number 3. Let's now fall through the floor, release the beast, and take on Morty next. Now, just for a little bit of insurance, we're holding on to the Minceberry for this battle. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to one-shot Morty's Gengar, so it is a very good idea to hold on to it. Of course, we're going to one-shot the Ghastly in the first Haunter. That was never in doubt. We grow up to level 28. Here comes the Gengar. We do not one-shot it, but Hypnosis does miss. That means we get to save the Minceberry for another battle, and we get through Morty, obtaining the Fog Badge in 22 minutes and 4 seconds. We're not done with what we need to do here in Ekritika though. We still have the Kimono Girls left to go. Now, I don't think the Kimono Girls are going to be any issue at all in this particular challenge. We have enough decent coverage to hit all of them for at least neutral damage. The only one I'm slightly worried about is the Jolteon, and that's just because it can technically, if we don't one-shot it, get us paralysed, and that's a teeny tiny time loss because we will have to then fumble around in the bag for a Pyrrhus cure of some sort. So let's hope that that does not happen. Here is the Jolteon now, in fact. Headbutts a one-shot, no need to worry at all. That does mean we can have a little chat with the man staring at the stage, get ourselves the Surf HM as well as the Raft, and that means we can now start taking care of business here at the lake. The first thing we need to do is get rid of this Gyarados. Hopefully it won't hit us too hard. It only got one turn of Dragon Rage off. We can now chat with Lance, get him all the way back to Mahogany, but he has to join the queue. We've got plenty of other business that we need to be taking care of before we even get to Lance's problems, and quite frankly, he can be at the bottom of the queue forever until we have to do it, because we don't like Lance, and keeping him waiting gives me a big sense of satisfaction. We're going to grab the Detect TM here to sell for a little bit more money for vitamins. We might as well grab Hidden Power so that we don't ever have to come back to the Lake of Rage again. With that, we will teleport back to Olivine City. We'll do a quick PP heal here, and then it'll be time to cross the open seas and take on our next gym. And that gym is, of course, Chuck's fighting type gym. We're in a very good situation here, because we're going to resist all of the moves that Chuck has on his learn set. There isn't a single move that he can hit us with, apart from maybe Rage, actually, if his Primeape has Rage, that won't hit for resisted damage. So we'll take him on, still holding on to the Minceberry, and we'll see how we get on. This is Chuck, leads with Primeape. It's going to be a 2-shot on the Primeape, we'll finish it off with a bite, and here comes the Poliwrath. I'm expecting a 3-shot on the Poliwrath. Hypnosis connects on turn 1, it doesn't on turn 2. Mintberry kicked in and came in clutch there, and we get the Storm Badge in 27 minutes and 4 seconds. Exactly 5 minutes between our 2 badges there. That gives us access to the air balloon, and that means we've got a little bit of housekeeping to get on with before we take on our next gym. I tell you what, sometimes it never rains, it just bloody pours. On top of all the stuff I'm dealing with the family member who is ill, I broke for lunch after the Chuck battle there, and it wasn't the only thing that I broke for. I ended up breaking my tooth. A few weeks ago I mentioned that I chipped it on a baguette from Lidl of all things, and then today when I was having lunch, a baguette again, because of course it was. The rest of the tooth has completely broken, so apologies if my voice sounds a little bit funny. I'm trying my best to speak through the pain. I'm on a lot of strong painkillers until I can get to the dentist tomorrow. So that isn't exactly the most pleasant thing in the world, but we shall deal with it nonetheless. Now we have got very lucky here at Jasmine, getting the Steelix into 2-shot range. Thunder Wave has had the Gen 2 miss twice in a row, and that gives us a very, very easy Mineral Badge fight. 30 minutes and 7 seconds overall for Jasmine's badge, and that does of course mean we can head now into Mahogany Town, where we have the Rocket Underground section, where I'm going to be trying to face as many of these grunts as possible for once, because we've got a gym coming up where we've got the 4 times weakness. And that's the Mahogany Underground section done for another challenge. That means we can move into our next gym, and it is, of course, Pryce's Ice-type gym. I am very worried about this particular gym. We saw there with the Cloister just how much damage we took from a single Aurora Beam there. So I reckon it's going to be curtains for us with a single Blizzard. We just have to hope for the best throughout the course of this one. Let's see how we get on. This is Pryce's Ice-type gym, and he leads with Seal. Seal's a one-shot, thank goodness. Let's move on to the Dugong and hope for a flinch. We don't get a flinch, and we do get an attack drop. We get the double attack drop. We're taking a bloody reset here. That is not what we are after whatsoever. One shot on the Seal, grow up to 36 again. Here comes the Dugong. Please flinch. Or a crit is even better. Let's try doing the same against the Piloswine. We flinch on turn 1. Blizzard misses. He's into healing range. Now, it is a potential 2-shot, which is what we get. So we are through the only gym where we have the quad weakness. Time of 35:19 for the Glacier badge. That does mean we have the phone call from Professor Elm, and that is our cue to ignore Professor Elm and make our way towards Blackthorn City instead. Now, here in the Ice Path today, we are going to pick up the Nevermelt Ice. We do, of course, have Hidden Power Ice as our Hidden Power type, and we will be teaching that before we take on Clair. There's a little way to go before the Clair battle, though. We've got to get all the way through the Ice Path first and foremost, and then we do, of course, have the dreaded Rocket Radio Tower section as well. Before we take on the Radio Tower rockets, though, there are a couple of bits we want to do here in Blackthorn City. I love using the end of this repel to go and buy repels, first of all, in Blackthorn, and then if we go down here, first of all, there's an elixir, which is really handy to have for the Radio Tower section. There's this lady, who no matter what I do, I always seem to get caught twice by, and there's a nugget here as well, which is very nice. And if we keep going on this way, we will see there's a PP up in here, which is always good to have. And then just for a little bit of, tiny bit of extra movement, we get this Prosecure Berry. But with that, we are now done with Blackthorn for now. We'll go into Goldenrod, and we'll take on the rival next. While we were climbing the Radio Tower, we did learn Dragon Breath. That's our first stab move of the challenge, and hopefully it will come in very, very useful as we take on the 4th and penultimate rival battle. This time he is going to lead with Golbat. We are going to use Hidden Power against the Golbat. We taught that as well during the Radio Tower section. It's a one-shot on the Golbat. We've got Ember for the Magnemite. That goes down in one hit. We'll use Dragon Breath against the Haunter. Probably going to be a one-shot just like that. Headbutt, I reckon, is going to be our best move against the Sneasel. I think it would have survived an Ember there. Ember really is the next move on the chopping block, I've got to be honest. We're going to use a pair of Dragon Breath against the Feraligatr, and that gets us through the 4th rival battle. Right, unfortunately for me, there's more of these pesky Rocket Radio Tower people to do, so I'll get on with them and we'll meet back up after they are all defeated. And that is the Radio Tower completed for another challenge. That means we can get the radio card and we can leave Goldenrod once and for all. We may be back a little bit later if we decide to learn Flamethrower. That's why we're holding on to the Scamulet coin. But for now, we're going to make our way over to Blackthorn City. And we are going to be making our way into Clair's gym together. This is our final Johtonian gym, and while we're taking on this gym, there's something that's come into my head that I've meant to mention on quite a few previous challenge runs, and it's to do with these mixed attackers. A Pokemon like Salamence on paper would look like a physical attacker because it's got 135 versus 110 in its physical attack versus its special attack. However, I would say that Salamence is perfectly capable of being a purely special attacking Pokemon, which is why we went for Hidden Power Ice. Even though our physical attack is fantastic, our special attack is still well over 100, so we can afford to run a special attacking Hidden Power type and have it really target those Pokemon who are struggling in the special defense department. As it turns out, our physical attack is probably strong enough for Clair's Pokemon, but it's something to keep in our back pocket for Lance especially. I don't think Hidden Power Rock would be anywhere near as effective as an example. as Hidden Power Ice will be for his Dragonite. Let's restore some PP in return, and we will take on Clair. She's our 8th gym leader together today. Dragon Sight Specialist leads with Dragonair. The first 3 Dragonair are going to go down in one shot apiece, and we can turn our attention instead to the Kingdra. I reckon, you know, return on turn 1, hope that we don't get paralysed, hope that she doesn't healing loop. That is how we want Clair to go. That means we can rush to the Dragon's Den next to get the badge, because Clair, of course, doesn't like making life easy for us, does she? She makes us go all on this trip, all around the houses, just so that we can get her blooming badge. And of course we have to take on Darren as well, and we don't like Darren here on the channel. Darren is mean, Darren is nasty, Darren is names that I wish I could say, but I'm family friendly. Let's get through this whirlpool now though, and let's get into the Dragon Shrine itself. We answer 11212, exactly the same as we did for the radio card, and that does trigger Claire to come into the gym. She gets shocked as always that we answered the questionnaire correctly, as she hands over the badge in a time of 47 minutes and 31 seconds. Always happy with sub-hour Claire, even happier with sub-50-minute Claire. That does mean we are on pace for sub-hour league as long as we play our cards right, and the first thing we need to do is get the heck out of here. We'll make our way back to New Bark Town now, and then we'll think about the Pokemon League. Now, as we were making our way towards Victory Road here, I did take on the trainer with the Magneton, because I thought we have Ember, and that will be a good one-shot, but we didn't even one-shot it. So I think at this point, Ember really is about as useful as a thong on an avocado, so we do need to get rid of it quick, sharp, and in a hurry. And we are very, very privileged to be able to get Earthquake here in Victory Road, and I think that will be the perfect replacement for the Ember. And I think that will be the perfect replacement for Ember. We are going to grab this extra HP up as well, so that we have the option to use the HP up strat in 2 battles, and then we will make the rival wait just a little bit by grabbing TM26, and we're going to teach that straight away in place of Ember. Now our learn set is getting very, very stacked. With that, we can take on the final rival battle. I don't think this is going to be any problem at all. He leads with Sneasel, we've got Return, it goes away. Up next is Golbat. We're going to use Hidden Power. I reckon Return would one-shot, but I want to play it safe. Then we've got Magneton. We use Earthquake, and this one goes down in one shot. We'll carry on with an Earthquake against the Haunter. That brings us on to the Kadabra. We've got Return. We know that'll one-shot very, very easily. The final Pokemon is for Alligator. We'll use a pair of returns. No, we won't even use a pair of returns. We get a lovely critical hit there, and we get through without any damage at all. And that means we are at the Pokemon League. We are going to pick up our 4 full restores. We already have enough money, by the way, to get ourselves the Flamethrower move. And we'll take a very quick look at our stats and do some predictions before going into the league. We are level 47 with 174 HP. Holding the Scamulet coin with Return, Hidden Power Ice, Earthquake, and Dragon Breath. 164 in attack, 107 in defense, 144 in special attack, 115 in special defense, and 128 in speed. Please do remember those are just the out of battle stats. We will get a big buff in battle, as we'll see in a moment, against Will. Now, in terms of the league, I reckon we'll have a breeze, to be quite honest. We've got Hidden Power Ice for Will's flying types. We've got strong physical moves for the rest of his team. They should just go away pretty quickly. Koga's going to be a joke. Bruno, we resist. We'll be fine. Then we've got Karen. It might be a reset or 2 at Karen. It should probably be quick either way. And then I think we're going to sweep Lance. So let's now enter into the league and hope that this is not misplaced overconfidence. We're starting with Will, of course. He leads with Xatu. Misclick there, but we do one-shot the first Xatu. Here comes Jinx. She's very frail, you know, so she'll go away in one hit. Let us start off with a return against the Slowbro. Amnesia's fine, that means we'll do double return. And we are on to Xatu number 2. We've got a Hidden Power for that Xatu, it goes down. We'll use Hidden Power against the Executor. We do range though, which is a little bit annoying, so it is a 2-shot in the end. But that is Will defeated. Let us move on to Koga now. He is our second league member. He is, of course, a poison type specialist, leads with Ariados. We'll use return against the Ariados as it uses a double team, but we knock it out on turn number 2. Fortress is next. We don't have anything too great for the Fortress, so we're going to use a set of Earthquakes and hope it doesn't become a bomb, which it hasn't done. It's gone for Swift, and that brings us on to Muck. Earthquakes are comfortable one-shot against this Muck. Now, as for this Crobat, we're going to use a Dragon Breath. I was kind of hoping there that we would get the Paralysis, but it didn't quite work. We'll use a return on the Venomoth though, and we'll get through very, very easily. 52-21 for Koga. Now we are going to use one of our full restores here, and we'll go into Bruno. Let us actually, while I remember, use a very quick elixir, and we'll take Bruno on. He is our third league member today, a fighting type specialist who leads with Hitmontop. Now we'll use a very quick return or two against the Hitmontop, and it'll go down. Of course, he can't go underground. And here comes the Onix. We've got Dragon Breath for the Onix. It goes down in one shot. Up next is going to be Hitmonchan. We one-shot it away. Machamp is next. He's probably going to go for a Rock Slide. It will hit fairly hard, but not hard enough. And the last Pokemon is Hitmonlee. That's another one-shot, and we defeat Bruno on our first try. And we can move ourselves on to Karen. I do just want to very quickly check. We're mid-level, but I think now is probably the best time to use the rare candies. So we'll full restore first, and then we'll stick in all 5 of our rare candies, ignoring Fly. It's a bad move in Gen 2. We will use a HP up. We will equip a Bitterberry. And then we'll dig in and hope for the best. This is Karen. She is our final league member. She leads with Umbreon. I reckon Earthquake is going to be the order of the day here against the Umbreon. You can see she went for Feint Attack. HP up strategy works there. We can use Earthquake against the Gengar as well. She's going to send out her Vileplume last, which is really good for us actually, because it means that even if we get paralysed, we're not going to be in any danger of being knocked out, because the Vileplume really doesn't have anything for us. Now, it was 6 and 1, half a dozen of the other when it comes to that Vileplume. Neither Hidden Power nor Return was a one-shot, but we get through and we can move on to Lance. Lance is our final obstacle between us and the Hall of Fame. He leads with Gyarados. We'll use a Dragon Breath as he goes for Rain Dance. 2 Dragon Breaths and it goes down. And Aerodactyl is next. Hidden Power is going to be the best move against this Aerodactyl. It goes down in 1 and we grow up to 55. We're going to keep hold of the Hidden Power button now for the Dragonite. We're going to use the same move against Dragonite number 2. And then we'll use the same move against Dragonite number 3 when it comes out. But we have a Charizard to deal with in the meantime. 2 hits on the Charizard and it goes away. And 1 last hit for the last Dragonite secures the victory. And we get sub 55 minute league. 54-48 for Lance. That means we can enter into the Hall of Fame, and we are going to get our Hall of Fame time for this challenge. SALAMENCE is clocking in at 55 minutes and 4 seconds. Let us now take a look at the midpoint leaderboard. And that time of 55.04 puts us 4 seconds ahead of Metagross in 16th place on our Backport midpoint leaderboard. And now, in terms of all the challenges put together, we are currently sitting in 35th place, in between Metagross and Weavile there. Don't forget though, this is only half of the story. There are still another 8 gym badges plus a red fight left to come, so it is all to play for. So don't you dare go anywhere, because Kanto is next. And now we are rejoining the action here in Vermilion City, where the first thing we do in Kanto is grab a rare candy from the chairman of the Pokemon fan club. And with that safely tucked away in our bag for another challenge, we'll get on with the Cantonian Gauntlet. We're going to start here at Lieutenant Surge, because I am more than pleased to announce that SALAMENCE is absolutely capable of our standard Cantonian routing. So that means we start here at Lieutenant Surge, then we'll go over to Erica, we'll go down to Janine, then it'll be back to Saffron for Sabrina, up to Cerulean for Misty, across to Beautiful Brock, down to the Seafoam Islands for Blaine, and we'll finish off with Blue. We've got a long way to go until we get to Blue though. We do have a bunch of gym leaders to take on. The ones I've just listed, in fact, Plus, I am fairly certain I owe you another gym battle from another challenge as well, so we'll slip that in somewhere as well. But now though, we get our first Kantonian badge on the board, and I'm going to try my best to get another Kantonian badge before the hour mark ticks over. That means we're going to go right through Saffron City, we'll dip in to the Pokémon Center, and we'll head straight into Celadon now. Now, during the time between the Hall of Fame and getting into Kanto, I did decide to get rid of Dragon Breath. I know we're getting rid of our only stab move here, however, we don't have any more dragons to take on, and I do believe that Flamethrower will be just as effective. Dragon Breath with stab and the badge boost will be roughly 95 power, and of course, Flamethrower is about 95 power as it is. The only difference is we have super effective moves for all of these pesky grass types now. So I think we really have traded up, and you never know. A lucky burn here and there could be very, very beneficial. I'm thinking maybe against the Snorlax if we have to burn it in the end. I'm hoping that we'll be able to two-shot with our physical moves, but it's nice to have a little bit of insurance. And with that, we'll take on Erica next. She's our second Kantonian gym leader together today. Grass-type specialist leads with Tangler. Now, while Hidden Power would probably one-shot as well, I'm going to go for Flamethrower. I don't want to risk anything at all in this gym. Jumpluff goes down, and the last Pokemon is Bellossom. We get rid of it in one shot, and that means we get Erica's badge, the Rainbow Badge, in 59 minutes exactly. If I can do very, very clean movement here, we might just be able to get Janine's badge under the hour mark as well. That's not what we want to see though, goodness me, I mistimed my movement there. The hour mark is probably now a little bit of a wild pipe dream, but I will try my best to make up that time. That one corner of Cycling Road always catches me out. Let's get ourselves into the gym and let's take on Janine, quick, sharp and in a hurry. We've got 30 seconds to get her badge to get 3 Kanto badges in under the hour. It's doable, but whether it will be possible is another matter. It all depends on whether she uses her Dire Hit on her Venomoth. If she does, I think it will be too slow. If she doesn't, we might still be in with a chance, although you never know. We have defeated all the Pokemon. Let's see when it officially ticks over. Soul Badge in 59:58. I love getting 3 Kanto badges within the hour. Now that means we have to go all the way back to Saffron City. We'll dip in here and do a cheeky little heal. And our next destination is going to be the Rock Tunnel. And through the Rock Tunnel we will get to the power plant. Try and time this very, very pesky trainer here. He is in fact the only trainer, I think, where we have to cross on 3 sides in Kanto. We've got 1 mandatory before Rock Tunnel. I tell you what, while I'm going through Rock Tunnel, why don't you take a look at this? And now all of the gym trainers here in Chuck's gym have been incredibly trivial, so we can go straight on to Chuck. We'll use a potion just to get ourselves up to full health, and we'll engage him in battle. He is our 5th gym leader together today. He is a fighting type specialist who leads with Primeape. We're going to fish for a flinch. We do not get the flinch, but we can 2-shot the Primeape. I don't think we're going to be able to one-shot this Poliwrath, no, and Dynamic Punch has landed. We hit through the confusion though to defeat it in just 2 shots. We obtained the Storm Badge in 28 minutes and 33 seconds. Let us now have a little chat with Chuck's wife. We'll get ourselves Fly, and there are a few bits I want to pick up before we take on our next leader. There we go, we are now all caught up. I've been through the Rock Tunnel, I have chatted with the bloke at the power plant, and we'll take on Sabrina next. She is our next gym leader, a psychic type specialist, leads with Espeon. We'll use Return against the Espeon, we knock it out in 1. If we knock out the Espeon in 1, then we're absolutely going to one-shot all of Sabrina's team. What a very, very easy battle there. Damageless Sabrina, Marsh Badge in 101.49. Let's get out of here, and now we have our favourite Nugget Bridge section coming up. Before we go on to the Nugget Bridge though, I am going to get the machine part. Because I'm not feeling at 100% Fettle, I will grab it now, so that we don't forget it after Misty, as we have done so many times. Now, as we're taking on this Nugget Bridge section, I can only apologise for accidentally missing that Chuck battle in the Raging Bolt video. It's the first time, I believe, I've ever accidentally omitted a gym battle in one of our videos together. I think once in the several hundred videos we've done together, though, isn't too bad going at all. I've got to be honest, when I was editing or when I was reviewing the video, it just completely slipped my mind, but I did think that video was running about 1.5 minutes shorter than I expected it to with the time we finished with for Raging Bolt. And I think that also means that this is the first ever challenge run video anywhere on the internet to have a total of 17 different gym battles in one video. So we really are just getting spoiled for gym leaders here. That is exactly how the Raging Bolt went on, though. I hope that does at least make everything even once more. It would have bugged me no end if I hadn't released that there. Thank you to everybody, by the way, who pointed it out, and I will make sure it doesn't happen again. I'll go back to what I did in the very early days of the channel, where I had a little tally chart of every single gym leader's battle that we were supposed to be doing, and I would cross them off one by one to make sure they were all in the videos. I obviously have gotten a little bit too overconfident with my editing. I'm getting a little bit too overconfident, a little bit too resting on my laurels when it comes to actually double checking the videos. Although, even though it did get the double check, it just seemed right on the day because I don't watch the entire video with perfect detail. I've got to be honest, I do just watch for accidental swearing and the like, because I don't really enjoy watching myself back. I get very self-conscious. Now, we could take a reset here if she'd... Oh, bloody hell, misclicked there on turn 2. Let's use return. Let's get rid of the Lapras. We'll give that as a freebie because I'm in a lot of pain, shall we? We'll get rid of the Starmie as well, and that just leaves Quagsire. Nice and simple Misty. One of the final times we'll be seeing an Ice-type move there. Let's get out of here and let us move on. The machine part has been given back, the X-Wing card has also been acquired, and that has allowed us to enter into the western half of Kanto. And our first West Cantonian gym leader is going to be Brock. He is a rock-type specialist, lives here in Pewter City, and he leads with Graveler. We'll use Earthquake against Graveler, we'll knock it out in one. We'll use Earthquake against the Onyx as well, it goes down in the same way. And that brings us on to Rhyhorn. Another Earthquake, another one-shot. We just have the 2 fossils left to go. One-shotting the Omastar means we are very, very likely to be one-shotting the Kabutops rather as well. And we get through Brock to obtain the Boulder Badge in a 106.24. We have just 2 gym leaders left to go now. We are really racing through these leaders here in the end game for SALAMENCE. I've been very, very happy with how SALAMENCE has performed so far. I don't think I could have asked for much more from this Pokemon. Even though we took a single reset at the gym with a 4x weakness, I think SALAMENCE can be very, very proud of itself. We have had an incredibly smooth ride. Let us now chat with Blue. He will go all the way back to Viridian City, and we can then do the very quick surf across this route into the Seafoam Islands, where we will take on Blaine. Blaine is our penultimate gym leader of the Challenger Fire-type Specialist, leads with Magcargo, and we're just going to hold down Earthquake for this battle. Looking at our speed, by the way, we are going to outspeed most of Red's party already, so I'm feeling confident in that department. That is Blaine defeated, Volcano Badge in 107.31. Let's get ourselves back to Viridian City now. And one very quick bag hill later, we are ready to go into Blue's gym. He is our final gym leader of the Challenger, Mixed-type Specialist of course, and he's going to lead with Pidgeot. We shall use our hidden power against Pidgeot. Are we going to one-shot it? Not quite, but we take very little damage from Pidgeot back. Of course, hidden power's typing does not get reflected with Mirror Move. We can one-shot the Rhydon, and we'll move on to the Gyarados. He's going to set up Brain Dance. He doesn't even bother to heal, so we can two-shot. We grow to 62, and out comes Alakazam. We'll get rid of it in a single hit. Here comes Arcanine. He uses extreme speed. Probably should have gone for Earthquake there, but losing a single turn isn't going to make too much difference. And the last Pokemon is Executor. The rain has stopped. That means we can use a Flamethrower. We'll get rid of it in one shot, and we obtain the Earth Badge in 108.43. Let us do our final heal of the challenge now. We will also use our 2 rare candies that we've got now. We'll stick another one in once we are near Silver Cave. We need to chat with Professor Oak, and then our next and final destination for this challenge is Silver Cave. So here we are in the aforementioned Silver Cave. We are ready to dig in at Red. He is the final trainer of the challenge, and he's going to lead with Pikachu. We can use Return Against Pikachu, we outspeed, and we knock it out in 1. Up second is Blastoise. Blastoise is second, by the way, because he has Blizzard. If we get hit by Blizzard, we just have to take a reset. It's as simple as that in this one. At least it makes the battle fairly quick with him sending out Blastoise second. Lovely critical hit there, but we did get Blizzarded again. I am thinking, you know, we might want to sack Hidden Power Ice and bring back good old Headbutt to give us a chance to flinch this Blastoise. And we'll try once more. Pikachu, one shot, we're only battling 5 Pokemon. Let us use Headbutt against this Blastoise. Blizzard has missed, Blastoise has flinched, Blizzard has hit. All we need is that little bit of luck. I reckon 2 Headbutts and a return actually will do it. We get rid of the Pikachu, we are on to the Blastoise once more. Headbutt, Blizzard hits, we try again. It's going to be a few rapid fire resets, I think, but once we're through the Blastoise, I reckon we are on a fairly easy street, you know. It's just about getting that luck. Sometimes it happens quickly, other times it does take a little while, but we do eventually get the luck we need. We just don't know when it will happen. He's getting very, very, very lucky here with Blizzard, actually. You wouldn't expect it to be hitting quite so often. It's a shame that Sunny Day does nothing for Blizzard's power. Blizzard has landed. Can we survive it? Not a chance. I did realise we never even bothered to check if we could survive it. So I do think our best option here is to keep on trying. I do think as well this is better than Double Team. I did pick up Double Team though as part of the housekeeping a little bit earlier on in Kanto off camera. So we could potentially teach it if need be. I'd rather we didn't have to though. I'd rather we got through without it. Although sometimes you do have to know when to throw in the towel. Now please flinch. Of course you don't flinch. I swear, I know it's not the case because I've seen the code, but I swear that it feels like Red has better RNG than any other trainer in the game. As long as we can just get that double miss, we'll be through. It's not that rare. We've seen it so many times when we've run a low accuracy move ourselves. He's just not happening, is he? He really is not wanting to play ball with us whatsoever. I've got to be honest, I'm just stubborn now. I want to see us get through the Blastoise without Double Team. Because I know we can do it, and I know that it is very, very, very possible. There's no reason for us to need to use Double Team here, because it's not that likely that Blizzard will hit as often as it is. It's a shame that Headbutt isn't doing quite as much as I would hope it would either, although that was a very low roll on the Headbutt there. We will keep on trying though, and eventually we will get that luck, like I said. It just all depends on the RNG on the day. And I think that's the point where we are going to go and use Double Team instead. There's only so much we can throw the dice with one strat before we have to go for another strat. And I think 14 resets into the challenge is that point. So we'll start off once again with a return against Pikachu, and then we'll try setting up Double Team against the Blastoise. And you can see, even this is not foolproof. What happens if we Double Team against Pikachu once to begin with? That will give us a little bit of an advantage, won't it? And then we'll try another Double Team here, but Blizzard hits. Bloody hell, Red. you have been on the secret potion today. You know that I'm in a lot of pain with my tooth and you're trying to prolong the torture here. We could have been done 5 minutes ago, but Red said no, unfortunately. So we have no choice but to keep on trying. One double team should be enough to really reduce Blizzard's accuracy, but it's just not happening today. And Charm is not what we want either. Charm will reduce our physical attack, and we are primarily physical attacking in this particular battle. Doesn't really matter if we get hit by too many thunders either, because we are really just in danger of being one-shot regardless by Blizzard. And it hits through multiple double teams. I think Red is cheating here. I think he's in cahoots with Jasmine. He's been on the old secret potion, and he is making his Pokemon artificially boosted. Let us use a... See, four double teams, and Blizzard hits first time. You absolute cheaty so-and-so, Red. And now we're probably not going to get that same luck here at the Pikachu again. I think I'm just going to try and spam double team all these times against the Pikachu. And then we'll go to return. And we will try once more against the Blastoise. We are now at max evasion. Surely this is the time where we get past the Blastoise. We will get full health if we do. Blizzard has missed. We are at full evasion, so that was likely. And we can move on to the Espeon. Espeon's using Swift because, of course, we are at max evasion, so it will prioritise those kind of moves. Let's try and burn this Snorlax just for a little bit of fun. I'm trying to get it to avoid a healing range here, although I have a feeling that it was unavoidable. That now brings us on to the Charizard, rather. We can 3-shot this thing, and I don't think we're going to be taking any more damage for the rest of the battle. We'll use Flamethrower against the Venusaur. It uses Sunny Day, it's sealing its own fate. And we defeat Red in 1:16:48. Let's take a look at the final leaderboard. And our final leaderboard time for the backports is 20th place, in between Linoon and Walrein. That is not a terrible time for Salamence, considering the struggle we had at Blastoise with the really bad RNG. And in our full leaderboard for Crystal, we're in 47th place, in between Dugong and Slowbro, so we're in very, very good company. Now, just before we finish, I do want to clarify something about the leaderboard, because some people have said we struggle to have comparisons here on this channel, but I show the entire Crystal series leaderboard at the end of each video. So the two leaderboards we show, firstly we have the category, so backports are split out into their own thing because they're not Gen 2 native Pokemon. And then, after we've shown the backport leaderboard in this instance, we show every single time challenge we have had together here on the channel. So I hope that cleared things up, and I really am going to say thank you for bearing with me. I know I've been a little bit stumbly today with the pain I'm in, but thank you so much for watching this challenge. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. If you've got any feedback, leave it in the comments down below. If you want to see more challenges just like this, click the subscribe button. And until next time, I will say thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you very, very soon.